Okay. Yep. Working. Everything's good.
Yeah, normally when a podcast starts, they're like, it's just nice to see you, man, but we've been hanging out all day, so
We've been hanging out
that'd be
all day.
disingenuous, you know.
Yeah. We went swimming in the river. We hung out and grilled. Ate some fucking bratwurst. Rotel. Man, we had a whole day. Had a good day. Did some rock climbing.
And I listen to so many different podcasts. I feel like I could imitate like 5 or 6 different people right now. But you gotta find your own muse, you know? Your own ideals, your own expression.
Yeah.
When that starts coming out, everybody wants a little bit of that.
But they don't want to do it themselves. Why is that? Why is it that people don't want to do their own individual shit? They gotta like want to. I mean, you gotta kind of learn from the past. You can't just come up with something new out of thin air. You know, you kind of need to have a role model or whatever. But what I mean is, people don't go that little extra mile and make something theirs. They don't start telling their own story. As the meme goes, there's a lot of people that don't want to be main characters in their own life. And I can already see right here and now that this cat is not going to be able to hang out with all these cords, and I'm going to have to put him up.
Cats and cords. This is an episode of Cats and Cords.
Cats and cords. I'm going to put this cat up. Mister.
The problem with cats is they wait for the most opportune moment to strike and just destroy anything in their path. So, do you want a killer in your house? Can you sleep soundly at night with a killer on the loose? Some people can sleep with a killer on the loose in their own home. And that's what these house cats are.
Yeah, they really are. They're predators. I was thinking about that today. They're like these vicious little killing machines. And I saw like a mouse run across the road when I was driving home. I was like, man, if my cat saw that, it would eat that thing. It would just rip its head off.
And we all better be glad that they're small.
Yeah.
We all better be glad that a house cat is a small thing.
Right. But some people, they want a fucking tiger in their house, Tiger King. He's just like, give me all the tigers. I want to hang out with them.
I feel like if a house cat was the same size as a tiger, it would beat its ass. I feel like pound for pound, house cats.
They got a lot of fight in them. You're right. Yeah. they're ready to square
It's
up.
scary. I mean, think about it. Like your cat, 700 pounds.
Right.
Same structure. It is scary, bro.
It is, man. I mean, that when you're playing with
It
your
would just
cat,
jump straight on your roof and like snatch an eagle.
they just do this shit when you're like playing with them. They just imagine what that would do to a little fucking mouse or something. It's just like a monster to them. It's this giant fucking cat to them.
If mice have dreams, I'm sure they have nightmares of cats.
They got to. I mean, we have nightmares.
Some of them got
spiders.
away, and then they had babies, and then those nightmares are like, don't let the cat get you.
Don't let the cat get you. Don't let that cat get you.
I mean, humans still have nightmares of monsters eating them when they're little.
Yeah.
So, that's probably just cats. That's probably just cats eating us when we were like getting out of the trees or something.
There was actually this type of saber-toothed tiger, and its mouth was made to fit over human heads, and its tooth would go right in the back of our head and kill us instantly and pop our head off and eat it. They would just eat our heads. And they were saying that they cat
wouldn't eat the body?
evolved. I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah. I hope they did. You shouldn't waste food like that.
Yeah. But they would get heads in their mouth and just... Their mouth was made to pop heads off of bodies. They said specifically people, but there's a lot of things that have heads.
Yeah, I can see him getting a lot of heads, you know?
Yeah. Everybody's got head. Everybody gets head.
No, not all animals can give head.
They can't.
Some animals most animals, I imagine, don't really have a good head game, you know?
They don't. They got to get their head in the game.
And it's just another perk of being human that, you know, you don't think about, and it's nice to be grateful, and I'm glad I'm a human in this go.
Me too. Be kind of cool to be a bird, but then I feel like I get tired after a while.
But these thumbs is nice.
Having to fly around all the time, you can't really.
I can't use a coffee maker if I got feathers for fingers.
Was this the porch ladder? I won't just like it.
That's the way life goes sometimes. You pull out a lighter that is really not yours or nobody's, and you go from there.
Did we have this conversation before?
You got to ask yourself, where have I been? What have I done? And it's usually fine.
Yeah. Yeah, man. It you know, this dude Eckhart Tolle and Ron Doss and Alan Watts, they're really famous for their long pauses.
Eckhart Tolle kind of pisses me off.
Right?
I'm like, get on with the fucking point, brother.
If you get
Spit
to
it
the
out.
stillness,
I
the
mean,
stillness inside.
I know you're present, but I really do have something to do later. And I know that's not present, but I do. I made
If you're
plans.
so present, one day you will become Santa Claus and give presents to everyone around you. Fucking what? Snow globes for everyone.
Take a deep breath after every period.
Fuck.
Be grateful for oxygen.
The oxygen, it is not there for everyone, but it is there for you. And when you have it, you must breathe it. And when you have done with it, you must breathe it out and move on with your life. If you do not, then you will just be cake for someone to eat.
The future and the past are not real. The only thing that has ever existed at all is right now. I gotta pay bills, motherfucker.
I do not understand. How do I eat this stillness and awareness? How does it fill my car up with gas?
I actually did like his book, though.
You know what all these motherfuckers are doing? They're trying to trick us in like these self-help things, these self-help gurus. They're trying to get us to numb ourselves to just deal with this bullshit. Everything is bullshit, kind of.
No, dude, I read The Power Now.
Yeah.
I'm an Eckhart Tolle fan as far as his books goes.
Yeah.
I think if he was hanging out right now, I'd probably talk shit to him because I think he's insane and he's almost turned into a cult leader.
Well, they all do.
But
these guru.
who knows, man? If he was here around us, he might be the coolest person in the room because he's so present.
I doubt it. I doubt it. He doesn't know how to chill.
I feel pretty present.
He probably doesn't know how to chill. He's probably like, you know who. I'm not gonna name names.
I think he's got a good sense of humor.
But no, I don't. People like that need to be like.
I think he's too present to laugh.
I think they need everybody to listen.
That's
to
a sad story. If you're too present to laugh, then I don't want none of that business. You know.
I think they're used to being famous, you know, and everybody, you know, on their beck and call.
I think it's kind of good to have attention to like all aspects of it. Like, there's nothing wrong with knowing what happened in the past, like looking at what you want to do in the future and enjoying the now.
Well, I think he's full of shit, though, for real. I think it's like a televangelist. Do you think they really believe in
Did you
that?
read his story of like how he like transformed overnight It's in his book.
No.
Yeah, just one night he was sleeping in like this like crazy vortex. He had a lot of anxiety like in the past.
Yeah.
And just one night this crazy vortex approached him and like his like ego split in half and he felt like he died and he felt like he was nothing and he didn't exist at all.
Holy shit.
But he was also like everything at the same time. And
Was he
was
tripping
just
on acid or was
no, he
sober?
said he went to sleep and he had like what he thought maybe was a
vision.
panic attack, but it would just turned into something that like everything just dissolved that he thought was true before. And yeah, he's kind of pursued this
fuckers.
path that he's on since then.
Man.
And even though that story sounds insane, like the dude's been consistent with it. He's pretty persistent
No, dude,
as far as
I've had weird shit happen to me like that, and you know, before I go to bed, and I've had weird vision things when I'm not tripping. Has he ever tripped before?
not that I'm aware of. I haven't heard him talk about it.
Well, I think people can kind of, you know, we make that DMT in our brains, and dreams. What are dreams? Those are a trip. And I think you can have dreams while you're awake sometimes, and maybe that happened to him.
And he might have a little bit of that tism too. So.
Tism? What is that? Oh.
And I don't know. It
Yeah.
probably increases.
Yeah, what does that even mean? You know, I've met people that they say they're autistic, or people say, oh yeah, that kid's autistic, and then I meet that kid, and I'm like, they're not fucking autistic.
They're just smarter than everybody.
Yeah, they're just smarter than everybody else, and they're sick of everyone's shit. And I'm like, this kid seems like he's
This
better,
kid's just
he's
tired
better
of his
than you
class
guys.
and he knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Give him a break.
Yeah, and
Let him work on something cool.
they call these autistic kids a problem when they're actually trying to solve all these problems around. I've noticed that for a long time. They say this kid is now some kids they're in the corner drooling, they're not getting much done, but I notice there's a lot of finger pointing of early on in school of what you can and can't do immediately.
Yeah, part of that's just young kids just trying to figure out life, though. Like,
No, I mean from the adults to the kids, to the students. They would talk down on trade school. Like, if you want to be a welder you don't want to do that. You want to go to college. They push college really hard on middle school kids before you even went into high school. And then you get to high school, 9th grade, and they're like, oh, you don't want to go to trade school.
it
You
was
want to go to
definitely
college.
everything was encouraged college for sure when I was in high school.
And I won't go to college, and it's a scam.
There are so many college degrees that are not worth the amount of debt you graduate with.
And then I go to trade school and actually learn shit, and then I started making money. But you go to college, and then when does the money when do I get the money?
Very specific things, man.
And you guys spend.
It's got to be like finance or medicine or engineering.
I was like, I don't know. I got out. I was like, I don't know about all this, guys. And they're like, oh no, you're not gonna finish. And everybody was very upset that I was quitting, and I got W's on everything. But I was just like, I don't know about this guy. I don't know. I don't think I'm gonna do this. I don't think I want to get into debt because everything was paid for, scholarships and stuff. And I discovered a scam in college. Like so there's several classes, science classes, that we were all taking, and I started to get to know some of the kids in the class. And we were taking these tests, and we were all bombing and failing. I thought it was just me. Then I asked her, like, oh, yeah, I got an F2. And everybody was getting Fs. And then the test, when we would take the test, there would be shit in the test that we never went over.
This is not a good professor, man.
Well, this was in several other classes in the science division. Because I went to school for recombinant gene technology. What the fuck?
I don't even know what that means.
What the fuck's wrong with me? What's fucking... That's
Say that
bad.
again?
Recombinant gene technology.
Okay. Recombinant.
Recombining genes. Recombinant.
Okay.
Yeah, and...
That's a new word of the day.
Basically, you're ripping lizard genes and splicing them with rabbit genes and spider genes, and you're making fucking monster shit in order to cure cancer, quote unquote. I was naive. I was in the science cult. I thought it could save everything. I thought it was a good thing to
Science does save lives sometimes,
It does,
man.
but there's so much propaganda. There's so much narrative. There's so much.
You have to wade through terrible political
It corrupts
ridiculousness.
It corrupts you. By the time you get to the end, you're corrupted. You're corrupted.
There's people that, make scientific advances that...
It's not true.
Dude, people are so much better at repairing like ACLs now than they used to be. And that's a blessing, because sometimes you blow out your knee and it works better now.
That's true.
That's awesome.
It's very limited, though. I won't get into it, but let me just talk about the patents. It's highway robbery. It's fucking bullshit what's going on with the patent industry, where people invent something and then they try to do it themselves, and a company comes in and then says, oh, I invented that first, and then they didn't, but they file a lawsuit against you, and you have to pay for it, and it drains you dry, but for them it's no big deal. And then it takes maybe years for you to even get to court, but you have to pay all these legal fees to get it set up. Mm-hmm. You have to do it. You're getting accused. It's fucked up. It's crazy. So everything is set up already, rigged against you. Has been for almost 100 years now. And debt is allowed. Debt used to be illegal. It's called usury. And it's been illegal for thousands of years in all the other parts of the world. But then in America, we started to say, hey, I'll let you do this and then you owe me something. And you know what it started as is credit card. And then that's what caused a Great Depression. Was credit. The credit system, everybody charged their credit up, maxed it out.
Yeah, but ain't it nice to swipe something when you're broke and you just get whatever you want?
It's ruined everything. We haven't invented anything since we started doing that. It stopped at that time.
Yeah, because the motivation happens when you're broke and you're not providing anything.
That's what the Wright brothers did. Yeah, they figure out how to fly a fucking plane on their farm.
There's a lot of broke people out here swiping stuff, and magically these credit card elves show up with a present.
Yeah. It fucked everything up. The debt, being able to get into debt and then having to pay that off instead of doing something else with your time. And then you made houses more expensive, where you had to get a mortgage. You didn't used to have to get a mortgage. It was just cheap enough. But then they're like, oh, everybody can get into debt, and this is normal. This is the new floor of...
You're supposed to be in debt. This is this is a good life.
Awful. What a terrible trick.
Okay, on the other side though, man, it's kind of convenient. It's convenient moving into a nice ass house that you can't afford yet, but you think you could pay off eventually. That's a cool plan.
No, it's not.
Why?
Because it's...
Sounds good on paper.
What if in 20 years you change your mind?
Well, you got a certain amount of equity built up in the house. You'll make some of it back, and you'll lose a lot.
But that's what I mean. It's like it locks you into a commitment, and everybody thinks, "Oh, that's a good thing. Oh, you're responsible." But that's not good. You're trapped. You should be committed to some things, but like committed to these payments for this period of years. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you can get a 10-year mortgage.
Yeah, but that's crazy. To me, it's just nuts.
It's hard to save up, man.
It's crazy, but we didn't used to
buy a house.
We didn't used to save up. We used to build our houses ourselves. That's what I mean. I guess I'm in that frame of like fucking pioneer people. Like they fucking made it, and that's how it was for so long. And now it's different for a short period of time, but we think it's been forever.
All my friends can send an email, and they're good at first-person shooters, but I don't think we could build a house, and that's sad.
Yeah, I guess that's where I'm coming from.
We could build a house. We could totally build a house, but it's going to be shoddy the first couple ones.
Nah, we got books. We can figure it out.
I feel like it's one of those things, man.
You got to have experience.
The first house you make is kind of like the first egg you try to fry. Right. It's going to be sloppy.
Yeah.
You sleep in it. It'll keep you dry-ish. But it might have a leak, and it might have a little lean to it.
It'll be like that fucking tarp system for the projector.
It'll be like Lemony Snicket, that house sticking over there over the ocean, just swaying back and forth, ready to fall in and kill every kid inside. Vibe is real in entertainment. Sometimes I feel like the vibe of the thing draws you in almost more than like the actual content of it. Like Halloween type things and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone loves Nightmare After Christmas.
Yeah. I mean, I like it too. Yeah, it's
And part of it is just because it's like, this is Halloween. The vibe you feel from it the whole time.
They're positive
It takes you to a
vibes.
certain place.
They're good vibes, though, is the key. They're not dark, bad, nasty vibes. That's the dressing around it. It's got these goth vibes, and but the story itself is very positive. You have all these monsters and ghoulish people, yet they're in love and they're trying to fight this douchebag in town that's trying to fuck everybody over, and everybody in the town turns. You get, it's a good story deep down.
But who would have thought we would have got the mixture of Halloween and Christmas? The most unlikely combos.
Or that monsters would have morals.
We learned that from Monstars.
That's kind of what Tim Burton was trying to do, I think. He was into, and I don't want to sound like a fucking douchebag when I say this word, but he was into the juxtaposition of the two elements of these cliche of monsters being bad, and then he's like, oh, they're good though, but look how ugly they are. You ever watch The Munsters?
Yeah.
That's a good fucking show. And I love that show because, you know, they look like, you know, some punk metal band or something, and they're just like, he's got a great wife that cooks for him all the time. He does his job and takes care of her and kisses her on the cheek, and then their son is always studying, but he's a werewolf and howls at the moon, and they let him do his thing, and the grandpa's a fucking crazy scientist vampire and living in the basement, and he makes potions and inventions and shit for them. And then they have this daughter that's normal and she's a cheerleader, and they're like, accept her. They don't
Imagine
try to,
a family full of a bunch of different types of people and everyone got along.
yeah, that's what it is. They're all different.
Imagine that.
Yeah.
That someone didn't have to just talk shit about the rest of their family because they're different. But
People can be themselves, yeah. Imagine that. Imagine a place
how
where you can be
big of a
yourself.
family can you have and it still be good? If you get 30 people in a room, 3 of them's probably
I think it'd still be fine. I don't think...
ridiculous.
I think it'd just get better the more people that you had, probably. Because they would help each other. They would riff off each other. They would learn from each other. They would struggle and fight each other. They would learn how to get along. Because ultimately they live in the same fucking house. How are you
Okay,
gonna-
so like in emergency, I got 5 real good friends I could think of. Like I could probably assemble if I really wanted to.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, okay, this is really good.
Avengers
Whatever we need to do,
assemble.
this is, we're all on the same task.
A-team.
And then it's like, okay, I could get 10 people there. Like I could think I could get them kind of on the same page. We'll probably figure it out. And then once I start getting to like 15 or 20, it gets hard to make a group of people do anything good.
Oh, yeah, man.
And yeah, I'm sure you can totally grow that. I mean, there's a bunch of people they've got a bunch of cool followings that they've grown that. That's the weird thing about followings, though. People that are famous, it's like too much of a following. I don't want you to literally follow me somewhere.
Well, yeah.
Follow me to the gas station and be like, hey, I seen you drive by. I just wanted to say hey.
Well, you touch on something that is curious about humans is a lot of people do have a sheepish follower attitude and think it's a good virtue, think it's a virtue, think it's great at how good they listen to other people. And I don't know what to think about that. I think it's terrible. It kind of disgusts me. I have a disgust response about it. I'm like, what the fuck? Can you just stand up for yourself? Can you just fucking be...
I'm sure there's a spectrum, but it does seem like a lot of people either are that or they're just like completely against the grain and they're their own thing.
Yeah.
I looked back and I feel like I was too much of not a follower in the way that I heard someone say that like you should have people that you look up to, because if there's no one that you know that's doing a good job, like you need to look out more good people. Like, yeah, I guess that is kind of true, because I know there's good people out here, so you need to look and find them.
Yeah, they're hard to find though. You know, how do you? And then you don't want to butt into someone's life. That's still, you have to be it yourself. You have to figure out what it is that you want based on what you know. First of all, you got to get a good knowledge base. What is the world? I took a really long time to fucking try to figure that out.
The world is a rock and
spinning in a void.
There's a lot of things growing on this rock
around a ever exploding ball of plasma.
They don't really
hydrogen.
It don't really give a fuck about anything, but these apes that live on it, they do give a fuck about everything, and everything means stuff to them. And they're trying to figure out this rock, but the rock don't care. But the humans care a lot, and some of them act like they don't, but all of them care a lot. Some of them don't know how to express how much they care, and they fuck it up for everyone.
They do. They try to hide it and act cool about it. Like, yep. Alan Watts says that an apple tree apples and the earth peoples.
Yeah, I mean, the earth's been people in here lately. It's been popping them out.
Yeah. I mean, how?
It's Mountain Dew, and, you know, people hang out, and things lead to stuff, and...
It's crazy.
The storks outsource to the herons. And little babies are running around.
Yeah.
And they're growing up fast. They always do.
They're on their way, huh?
Yeah, eventually I'm gonna hang out with Doug Stanhope. I don't know if you've ever seen him.
Yeah.
But
stand-up comedy.
He cracks me up, and I feel like I get along with his crowd in Bismarck. He's got his just like own place out in Arizona that it's just kind of his, and that's how I operate in Waco.
Yeah, me too, man. Yep. That's the only way to operate. You got to keep your circle tight for real. Otherwise, people will come in there and fuck it up.
Because he was popping off for a while, so it's like, if he wanted to, I'm sure he could have moved to LA and got like top spots at a bunch of places that increase your social ranking. And he's like, no, I'm trying to have a good time. Yeah. I'm trying to have a good time.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. I'm having a good time.
Yeah, I mean, I always keep in mind that the Garden of Eden had walls. It separated itself from the rest of the earth. It tried to be something even better by having a select few plants, by having select animals. But then there's that one snake in there. You always deal with some element of mystery, I guess, in your circle, in the tight circle that you try to keep. But maybe it has something to teach you, I guess.
Ooh, the business to making friends. Something only men know about.
Yeah, chicks have different set of priorities.
Now, I do pick on women. It seems like sometimes they do struggle making new friends.
Oh yeah, because
Yeah.
they're competing with other women in their minds all the time.
You think it is that?
Yeah, and men are trying to help each other become better and better. That's what men deep down want. Some dudes that don't jive with that, you can't fuck with them. They're not normal. That's not how most men are. Most men want to like be helpful to each other. I mean, I won't say most
What happened
men.
to the old phrase, like it takes a whole village to raise a child?
Well, it is true, you know, because what's going to happen if your kid only talks to you for 20 years? They're going to be fucked up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They need to interact with the hardware store guy, the fucking mechanic guy, the fucking blacksmith, the guy that makes candy, the guy that makes shoes. They need to know how the world works, and they can't all learn that from you. It's not like the village is gonna fucking breastfeed your baby. That's not what that means. People take that seriously, and then I don't know. Some
If you
people
don't
are
let your
nuts.
child into the village, you basically have a cult at your house.
Yeah, you do.
And
Your own little world of weird bullshit. Yeah. Oh, it's true, man.
but these kids are escape artists now through Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
But it's not as real as sneaking out. There's nothing like really sneaking out of your room. You can Google,
It's not the same.
You can Google Earth anywhere you want in the universe, but sneaking out of your window physically and going somewhere,
You
that's
can't
a
beat
thrill of a lifetime.
Can't beat that. You got to get out in the world and meet people and see who you are. You got to, fall in love and get into fights and run away from things that are dangerous. And, or not run away from them. I don't know. And drive your car and find new places. And, yeah, you got to want to do that. A lot of people don't want to even do that. A lot of people don't even want to get their driver's license anymore, man. They don't even want to have the possibility of being responsible for anything. It's crazy. I know, it's nuts. I don't get it. But it's true. They want to intentionally disable themselves and make themselves so, pathetic that they're out of the game. It's like basically soul suicide. Their body's alive, but inside of them is, I just don't, the Japanese call them neets or hikikomoris. They're just people that go inward, implode. They stay inside and watch anime and eat ramen and jerk off all day and don't ever leave. And they draw government money or something.
Yeah, I could do it for a couple of days.
Well, yeah.
But I'm gonna say about day 3, I'm gonna get real depressed, and day 4, I'm gonna be like, I gotta get out of here.
I gotta get out of here.
I cannot watch this porn again.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's real.
I gotta go do something.
Some of it's just real fucked up.
But yeah, I can see how it could grab on to some people. I guess I'm grateful I don't have a proclivity for it. But part of your brains, part of the human brains, it wants to reproduce. Male sees a sexual image instantly whenever he types it in.
Well, I've been thinking about this.
The most valuable currency in the world is attention. It's not money.
Exactly. You're right.
It's not any kind of thing you can give. You can build whatever you want. Attention is the most valuable thing you can get from another person in the world.
All right.
And some attention's better than others. You like some people's company better than others. Not all attention's the same.
And that's
why
discriminating.
Like if someone gets a popular podcast and someone's trying to silence him or something, one reason why is because that person's getting all kinds of attention, which is basically just more valuable than gold. It's
yeah,
it's really the top
all
dollar.
eyes on this person now. Yep. Everybody wants to check out the new thing. Everybody wants a new thing. Everybody constantly needs a new thing.
Because if you're getting that much attention, money's really not going to be the issue. Once it gets to that level, it's more of like a influence power thing. I'm sure some people get there by just doing their own thing, but whew, it's so tempting once you would get to that level to let the influence of $200 million or whatever it is to just like say something wholeheartedly, pretend. And then that's how you sell your soul. And you can never be true again.
Yeah. Dude.
But in America, we believe in forgiveness.
We live in apology without forgiveness now. You have to apologize forever without ever being forgiven. The more you apologize and show how weak you are, actually brings the sharks to the water. You know, they bring.
It kind of pissed me off when I was younger that, you know, the Christianity doctrine would say that you're born a sinner.
Yeah.
But it kind of feels, the older I get, I'm like, yeah, every human is like born fucked up.
Yeah.
So I kind of get it on that level.
We gotta learn.
I think you should acknowledge that, like, okay, I'm a human. I'm capable of really bad things.
Yeah.
Like, I can choose to do good, and like I'll probably continue to do so, but I'm capable of bad things. Humans before me have done them.
Right. And I came from them. So therefore,
just a couple peoples ago.
Just a couple peoples ago, when people weren't as well fed as they are now, and
when you get hungry, like right now, like, well, you know, it's easy to talk philosophy and morals when we got a full stomach. I've ate pretty good today.
We've got beans, so we got questions now.
But man, if we was hungry, I bet I'd be a different guy if I ain't ate in 2-3 days.
I get hangry, man.
Yeah, we all do, because we want to stay alive. Our body gets pissed off. It's used to eating several times a day.
Where's this food?
America.
Where's this fucking food at right now? What's going on? Are we gonna die? Your body doesn't know. It doesn't have a brain. You have a brain. You're trying to tell it what to do, but it's like, it doesn't believe your brain anymore. It's like, you're gonna kill us, aren't you? You're not gonna let us eat. And it starts to rebel against you. Get really mad.
I fast sometimes just to fuck with it and be like, no,
release this
I ain't gonna
adrenaline.
feed you till I fucking want to feed you.
Releasing all these hormones. Your muscles start twitching. And you start beating shit up. Until you make yourself a fucking sandwich.
Yeah.
But you don't make it. You slam that fucking sandwich together. And you're like, you just eat it. Real pissed off. You didn't cut the tomato just right because you're too mad to take your time and find the bread knife, which is the best thing to use for tomatoes, and slice them.
And you smack a deer on the wall because it was looking at you wrong.
Yeah. A deer. Eat that fucking sandwich. And then you feel better and you're like, oh, I've made a mess. Why was I so upset? Why didn't I take my time? You're like, you thought you were dying. But you weren't.
You're perfectly alive, and
you could probably not eat for another week and be okay. Oof. 2 weeks you're pushing it.
Yeah. 2 weeks, man, I think I'll die. I'm not good at holding a lot of fat, man. I weigh 160 right now. My body would eat itself in like 2 weeks.
You gotta have a little fat, I found, is good.
Yeah.
I used to be too skinny. And,
well, if you notice, I think like some of the top functioning athletes in the world are like MMA fighters.
Yeah.
They just want to be in the condition to fuck up the other guy, right? So many of them are not like super cut. They don't want to be super cut.
No, it costs too much.
Having a little bit of body fat definitely gives you those energy reserves to dig deep in like later rounds. when your cardio's getting tested.
Yeah, it's crazy to be eating 74 fucking eggs just to keep your muscle mass.
Yeah, bodybuilders, they lose so much fat that it's not performance based. It's aesthetic, and it's a trick.
Yeah, they have no endurance. They can do really cool shit for short periods of time in an air conditioned gym. You know.
No, I mean, like, if they like feed themselves back up and hydrate, they probably are pretty strong.
I watched
most of them.
Eddie the Beast. You seen that video? He lifted 1,167 pounds, deadlifted, and he blew his brains out, man. he got an aneurysm and an embolism and all his brain bleeding and blew his vessels out in his brains.
Yeah, dude, I did see that.
He blew his fucking. His nose was bleeding, his eyes were bleeding, his ears was bleeding, his mouth was bleeding.
It was just one of those things.
His ass was bleeding. He was bleeding
it's
everywhere.
One of those things that, like, you know, this is gonna fucking kill you, dude.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever lifted anything this heavy off the ground, as far as we know.
Well, you know what?
And you're on all the you know, enhancers that we have right now, and you're eating all the food that we have right now.
Yeah,
and if you want to go all out and you want to hit these smelling salts and see what you got, let her
Rick Tater Chip.
And he did, and yeah, he pretty much blew his own brains out of his nose, and he lifted that weight and he held it up, and he
for 5 seconds.
Like a champion.
He said that if he wouldn't have held it up, his brain wouldn't have bled. He should have dropped it immediately and done the regular thing, but he wanted to hold it. And he said he looked out at the audience and he felt the moment, and then he realized he was holding this, and then his brain started shutting down and he's bleeding out of every orifice on his body. Bleeding out of his dick, bleeding out of his toes.
Adrenaline only gets you so far.
And his bones were starting to crack, and he just had to fucking, and then he fucking, I saw him shaking. He was getting the death shakes. He was dying. He was fucking dying. And his body was like, you're dead. And I saw him shaking, and I was like, I was flipping out. I thought I was watching a man die. I thought, oh, because I like this guy. I've seen him in Joe Rogan's podcast several times, and he said I'm gonna fucking do it. I'm gonna lift fucking half a ton. I'm gonna do it and fucking do it, and fuck all y'all. I'm gonna do it. And everybody's like, you can't do it. Fucking does it, and he holds it up there. I bet nobody will be able to hold it up there that long, but I don't think that's a record. It should be. It almost killed him. He was going on the ground.
Oh no, he's in the legend books. Like,
he's a legend.
If
He's
someone
a fucking
breaks
legend.
it, like, everyone's going to remember that lift.
He's a legend.
Because that was just like some Super Saiyan. This is everything I got.
Everything.
Here we go. I am peak performance at the moment.
I couldn't believe it. I saw those bars, the metal bars that he was holding. They bent like this. They were like fucking.
An event like that is so crazy as far as fitness goes, because
it's like a bamboo stick.
You are sacrificing so much of, like, health to be, like, just so awesome at this one specific lift. Because to lift that much, you have to weigh, like, over 300 pounds.
I think he did put some metal and leather gloves on. I remember he put all this shit on him.
Did he have straps on when he did it?
Yeah, and he had something on his hands, because when he lifted that, the metal bent around his fucking hands like it was like a stick. Like it just was like a wet stick. It bent around. The metal did.
No, dude, it was a deadlift.
I know, but
when he lifted it above his head.
But the thing, it was like those bars were bending, dude, when he lifted it up above his head. And he had some kind of glove.
No, it was a deadlift, bro.
Yeah, he was down here.
It's from the floor, and it just was like right here. That's the one that was like 1,000.
He lifted it
100
up.
pounds.
He lifted it up above his head.
Not 1,000 pounds.
No, he didn't. You're right. He did do this.
It was like this.
You're right. Why did I think it was like above his head? And then he dropped it. You're right.
And
that would be crazy if he lifted it up above his head.
They should all go home if he lifts it above his head. That's some Conan shit right there.
What's the heaviest you think somebody's lifted a weight above their head?
I don't know what the record is, man. Some of these Olympic weightlifters do some crazy stuff above their head though, because they'll pop it up from the ground real fast and then go straight up with it. I bet they've got up 500-600 pounds.
That's a fucking lot.
But yeah, I don't know.
Not 1,000.
No. Deadlifting's way easier. It's such a smaller distance for the bar to go.
Fuck.
But yeah, just holding that amount in your hands is insane. It's gonna make your body shake to its core.
Yeah, I saw.
Gravity's already a bitch. Like, you know, sometimes you get up off the couch and you're like, damn, I need to shake my legs. And 1,000 pounds.
Man, how could your fingers take 500 pounds each?
You carrying groceries up the steps, like, yeah, I can feel the extra weight.
Each of his fingers had to carry 100 pounds. Like that when he was holding it.
Yeah, I guess so.
That's nuts.
Freaking pinky holding up 100 pounds.
I can't even imagine.
Yeah, my pinky's a bitch. It ain't holding 100 pounds. I could probably got 30 pound pinky.
I fuck with these 80 pounds. I do that. I should move up a little more, but yeah. Sometimes that's difficult. Lifting fucking 80 pounds above your head straight up. It's kind of difficult if you haven't done it in a while.
Oh yeah, anything overhead, man.
Yeah.
Lights up. Any weak point, you just kind of topple over like a Jenga tower.
Yeah, until you get it the weight, and then you got those muscles that will hold it. And it doesn't know how to do it unless you hold it. It's like it'll never make that muscle. It'll never learn how to move. Like your finger, you see babies and they're trying to move their fingers and do all this crazy shit and they look crazy, but really they're mapping their movements at all possibilities they could do.
Should we just like force our kids to do everything when they're really young? That way they just learn it all.
Yeah. That's what the Asians
do. Just like 3 and 4 year olds, just like make them learn instruments and like languages and.
It is. That's what the Asians do.
Math.
Man. They got all that
Read
advanced
this
shit.
book.
They got all these advanced fucking Asian people doing this shit.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna be like screw cartoons. This is the time, kids.
But the thing about
it, they hate you because they don't have a childhood. I don't know how. Balance, I guess. What's the balance?
I'll say this about it, you know, they don't have like a fucking Jimi Hendrix or the Beatles and Elvis Presley and shit like that. Like they don't have super big time creative wild card musicians that everybody wants to listen to. All these people that learn these instruments early on, it's like they don't even enjoy doing it. There's no soul in it. And I think that's a big factor in music. If kids want to learn music, you'll get into it when you get older.
Yeah.
Or you won't. I think when you're forced to do anything when you're younger, yeah. What I've noticed is that kids already know what they want to do, and if you just let them do it and don't get in their way, I mean, don't let them do dangerous, retarded shit, but just kind of encourage them, then they kind of handle it, man. What I find parents...
The Jackson 5, you know.
Yeah, parents limit their kids to
their father forced them to do all kinds of stuff, and they're wonderful dancers. Michael Jackson made some of the best songs that we've ever heard.
Yeah.
And, you know, questionable decisions on his part.
Yeah, he was nuts, though.
But that music, man, that music.
It was good music. People went to his concert.
I'm signing off on that.
For a reason.